The Forgotten Giants of North America, Part 1. Across North America, from the misty Ohio River Valley to the remote deserts of Nevada, a forgotten story lingers of ancient giants buried in mounds of sacred earth. Difficult to prove, yet impossible to ignore. Mainstream science has never confirmed the existence of a race of giants. The idea is often dismissed as folklore, misidentified bones, or 19th century hoaxes. But the traditional belief in ancient giants is remarkably widespread, and the consistency in their descriptions across space and time is striking. Reports span millennia and cultures across the globe, from Norse sagas to biblical texts and colonial journals. In the U.S., 19th and early 20th century newspapers frequently published accounts of giant skeletons unearthed, some allegedly 7 to 12 feet tall, with unusual skull shapes, double rows of teeth, and burial artifacts made of copper. And various Native American oral histories tell of having to fight against a tribe of giants. The Paiutes, Shoshones, and Mandans told of light-skinned giants that were red-haired or cannibalistic or both. The Comanches, Chippewa, and Choctaw all also described giants that were powerful and aggressive or cannibalistic. In 1885, the New York Times reported findings of 7 to 8-foot skeletons found in Ohio, as well as several other instances of similar reporting in that publication alone from the 1870s to World War I. Beyond newspapers and folklore, 19th century county histories offer some of the most grounded accounts of oversized skeletons. Works like The History of Marion County, Ohio, 1883, and Henry Howe's Historical Collections of Ohio, 1888, were compiled from first-hand testimony and official records. Both document the discovery of unusually large human remains, often in burial mounds, reported by respected citizens, farmers, and early excavators. These volumes weren't written to sensationalize, but to preserve local history, making their repeated mentions of giant skeletons all the more intriguing. The mound sites and giant legends are geographically distributed across much of the continent. Ohio, Kentucky, West Virginia, Texas, Georgia, Illinois, New York's Finger Lakes, even Nevada's Lovelock Cave, all share strangely similar claims. As noted, the claims often correlate with ancient earthworks left behind by the Adena, Hopewell, and Mississippian cultures. Were these elaborate mounds simply ceremonial burial sites, or something more mysterious? The Great Serpent Mound in Ohio is the largest surviving effigy mound in the world, an enormous earthen serpent stretching over 1,300 feet. Its form coils around what appears to be an egg or solar disk, and its body aligns with celestial events like the summer solstice sunset. But what's most striking is how serpent symbolism, often linked to cosmic knowledge or forbidden wisdom, appears here in ancient North American earthworks, something far more common in Mesopotamian or Near Eastern traditions. Could this be a faint echo of something older, a symbolic residue of the same spiritual rebellion told in ancient texts? It raises a deeper question. Were these just tall humans, or were these burial mounds signs of something more? A forgotten race, or something that defies categories entirely? Skeptics rightly point out that many reports of giants came during a time of sensationalism, with no DNA testing and plenty of room for fraud. But as we've noted, many of these claims did not come from the tabloids, and these findings would predate previous consensus on European contact by over 1,000 years. Even the Smithsonian Institution was involved in excavating and collecting giant skeletons in the 1800s, though many of these artifacts have since disappeared from public record. Ephraim G. Squire, a key figure in early American archaeology, co-authored Ancient Monuments of the Mississippi Valley, 1848, published by the Smithsonian, cataloging numerous earthworks and skeletal discoveries. Though he didn't use the word giant, his systematic documentation of what he described as skeletons of extraordinary size in dozens of earthworks suggests these reports were taken seriously by mainstream researchers of the time. The December 1856 issue of Scientific American also carried a brief piece titled "Giant Skeleton Found." This was more than sensational hearsay. It appeared in a respected science journal of its time. One of the most compelling accounts comes from a primary source published by the U.S. government. In the 12th annual report of the Bureau of Ethnology to the Secretary of the Smithsonian Institution, 1894, archaeologists detailed their excavation of the Cresap Mound in West Virginia, a known Adena site. Among the skeletal remains, they reported, the length of the skeleton was measured to be about 7 feet 6 inches, and the bones were unusually massive. These remains were not isolated. Buried alongside them were copper bracelets, mica ornaments, and engraved stone tablets. Another seemingly credible source was none other than President Abraham Lincoln. In his lecture notes as preserved in the Library of Congress, he wrote, "The eyes of that species of extinct giants, whose bones fill the mounds of America, have gazed on Niagara as ours do now." So while modern interpretations of this vary and skepticism is warranted, outright dismissal ignores the strange consistency and the sheer number of these accounts, not to mention the official Smithsonian reports of skeletons of extraordinary size. Here's where things get even more curious. The very regions most frequently linked to ancient giants, southern Ohio, eastern Kentucky, western Pennsylvania, West Virginia, are also among the most active modern supernatural hotspots in North America. Hauntings, poltergeists, occult activity, sites like Waverly Hills Sanatorium, the Trans-Allegheny Lunatic Asylum, and Moonville Tunnel draw not just tourists, but investigators, mediums, and exorcists. Places where visitors report apparitions, shadowy entities, and other strange occurrences. These aren't just eerie places. They're charged, restless, as if something or someone still lingers. So what are we really dealing with? A forgotten race of ancient humans? A series of frauds and misread bones? Or something older and darker? In ancient texts, there are stories of powerful beings, hybrids of earth and heaven, who once walked the land, and when their bodies perished, their spirits remained. In Part 2, we'll explore the strange case of the Watchers who descended from the heavens and the resultant Nephilim, and we'll ask the question, could these ancient giants still be with us, just in a different form? If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to watch more about the overlooked, the mysterious, and the forgotten.